A very impactful winter storm will impact Arkansas and much of the central and eastern United States. We're already under a winter storm warning. Now, the hurricane hunters are involved in all this. They were out in the Pacific Ocean yesterday getting measurements of this system, and now that data is getting ingested into the computer models, which therefore leads to higher levels of confidence. And as we've been telling you, there would be adjustments to our forecast that we put out earlier in the week, and the confidence is growing as to what's going to happen. I've got all the model data, but let's not overlook the broader side of things, the overall impacts of this. Dangerous travel for most, if not all of the state, and terribly cold weather. So while you're wondering, am I going to get sleet? Am I going to get freezing rain? Am I going to get snow? As we told you, the Arkansas slushy, the overall impact is one that brings dangerous travel no matter what to the state, because whatever falls from the sky, it's going to accumulate with temperatures so cold. I'm going to show you the GFS, and I'm going to show you the European and a bunch of model data here to explain how this is all unfolding now. I also want to bring up to you, too, about the European and its flaws. If you look at these computer models, the European is showing these unbelievable amounts of ice. Well, the European doesn't handle sleet. It either sees it as freezing rain or snow and really doesn't do sleet well at all. So when you look at those freezing rain amounts, you got to consider that a lot of that's going to be sleet. And I'll show you in just a little bit. So this is the GFS. This is the morning run of the GFS. In the blue lines, 850 millibar temperatures, 5,000 feet up the freezing line. I'm not going to bore you with that. The main thing about this is Saturday afternoon. We're getting an incredible amount of moisture from the subtropical system coming through this jet stream. And then at the same time, you got cold air. It's all coming together. Remember, we said you got to have the cold air, you got to have the moisture overlap. Well, that's exactly what's happening. But what the GFS is doing is bringing in one round coming up Friday night and into Saturday, and then another round coming in on Sunday. The European really doesn't do it that much. It's more together and gets out of here a lot sooner. But what the GFS is doing, it's very interesting. And I'm not saying this is correct, but this is a wintry mix for most of the state here. And then the next wave comes across. This is coming up on Sunday afternoon. This next wave, if, big if, all capital letters, if this is correct, this would be more snow on Sunday than any type of sleet or freezing rain, except for southeast Arkansas. But that's if that's the correct version of all things. Oh my goodness, you're saying, what in the world are we looking at? Okay, well, this is time right here. Starting now, going through time. That's Sunday right here. Here's Saturday. And this is the ground. This is at about, well, let's see, that's about 5,000 feet up. So we're going up into the atmosphere here, okay? And these are temperatures in degrees Celsius, I should say, but that's not important right now. See this? That's the line right here, that white line right there. That's 32 degrees. That's the freezing line right there. There's a pocket of air. You see from about 5,000 feet up to almost 10,000 feet up, there's a pocket of air. This is over Little Rock. That pocket of air, that what we call the warm nose coming in from the subtropical jet, that's above freezing temperatures right there. So as the snow falls, it falls into this layer here and it melts, okay, into water droplets. The question is, does it stay water all the way down to the surface and you get raindrops down to the surface and that would freeze on contact? That's freezing rain. Or does the snowflake go through here, melts, and comes through here, and it has time to freeze, because that's a pretty deep layer of very cold air, sub-freezing air, and does it form those ice pellets? So those rain droplets form into sleet. So that's what this is telling us, is that and this is very cold air. That's the Arctic air at the surface. Remember, Arctic air is very shallow. That's the Arctic air at the surface. So in my opinion, what happens is that rain droplet falls down into that layer and it refreezes into a sleet pellet. Now, let's say that in reality, this is a model. In reality, this is a lot smaller than it's snow. And this really isn't there in northern Arkansas. It's all snow. And then you get into southeast Arkansas, and this layer is closer to the ground, and it won't have time to refreeze into a sleet pellet. It's a rain droplet, and it's freezing rain. So that's the tricky part of the forecast. It's not what's happening here at the ground, it's what's happening above our heads. That's why this is so difficult. Okay, so that's the period of time, though. You have to look at that. That's Saturday. You have sub-freezing air all the way through. So this is going to begin as snow and sleet, probably. There may be some melting, even though it doesn't show that. But the models keep showing sleet. But you have to watch that period Saturday afternoon. Then the cold air that really starts to pour in at all levels of the atmosphere. That's what you see right here. So if there is anything on Sunday, it's all snow. I know it's very complicated, but it's not just where we live here at the surface. It has a lot to do with what's going on upstairs. This is a closer view of that from the European. This is kind of up close. You see that area that starts at about Saturday morning and goes through the afternoon. But this layer here from about, I'd say about 5,000 feet down, that's minus 10 degrees Celsius. I think that that's enough that it would make it into a sleet pellet, but I'm not 100% confident of that, but I'm very confident. Not 100% though. This is the European. It has a, you see that? It has a horrible issue. It cannot decipher freezing rain and sleet. So most of this is actually sleet, and it's more represented by the GFS where you have snow. This is a snapshot Saturday afternoon. Snow, heavy sleet, and ice down here. Again, you are so sick and tired of hearing me say this, but this can and will change. Will it go further north? Will it go further south? But we're starting to hone in because we're getting all the good data in and we're closer to the event. But it's within the realm of possibility that this snow line is further towards the south. That's possible. It's also possible that it's further towards the north and you get more freezing rain into Arkansas and they're dealing with icing. So there's still uncertainty exactly how that plays out. This is our forecast right now. And it hasn't changed all that much except to lift that layer 6 to 10 inches of snow plus. I think some places will get 15 inches or more in northern Arkansas. In this purple shaded area, there could be some sleet mixed in, but primarily snow. Through the, this area, this blue shaded area, you're talking about 3 to 6 inches or more of sleet and some snow. And that's taking into account the onset with snow, possibly. And again, Sunday, there could be some snow if the GFS is correct with that. But a lot of sleet, heavy sleet, it will cause a nightmare with traveling. It'll be very difficult to travel if this sleet does happen and comes to fruition, which I think it will. And so no matter what, it's a winter storm. And then we have to watch southern Arkansas for sleet and ice. And remember, that ice could be further towards the north, and that is always in the back of our mind. We have to watch that very carefully. So a high impact of event likely, dangerous travel, that's the bottom line. Extreme cold, remember pets, pipes, people, all types of winter precipitation likely across the state. Stay off frozen ponds. Talk to your kids about that. And stay with us at KARK, the Arkansas Storm Team. We have Arkansas Storm Team live every day, 11/3, and tonight, Thursday night, 7 o'clock live on our live streaming at KARK Fox 16 Plus. You can also watch that on our website. You can also watch that on our news apps. There's so many different platforms that you can watch that. Yes, I have a headache already, and I'm sure you do too. But in all seriousness, it's a winter storm. It's going to have impacts, and extreme cold, don't overlook that. So many questions, but it's starting to come into focus with all the different precipitation types across the state. Stay safe, and thank you for your trust.